All right, so we saw this documentary, three series part doc series on on Netflix, right? So which is called MS MS-13
the
MH370, right?
the plane that disappeared. Yeah.
The plane that disappeared, and this is the Malaysia Airlines airplane that disappeared in 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
That's
So
correct.
we watched this three-part docu-series, which to start off, no, I mean, Netflix, they're cool, but they have this little formula they've been coming out with where they have a really interesting story that could be told in an hour and 20 minutes, and they stretch it to three episodes. I think this could have been a fire, an hour and 20-minute documentary. It was an okay three-part series just because it is a little bit long and stretch, but it's very interesting. I had heard of this, but I had not realized how grave of a situation it was until I saw a documentary, and mainly because of the angle they took of showing you the family members, right? Because you never think about the actual thing that's gonna happen when this thing disappears, and then there's people on the other side waiting, and nobody ever comes, and then nobody ever has an answer. It's like, am I
What
living
the?
a like an acid trip? Like, is how is this even real? Like, and I also wanted to know a little bit on the technical side from DJ BJ, which aside from being one of the darkest and more sought out after DJs in the dark scenes of South Florida and other regions of the Eastern Bloc, Europe, he is also a fine airplane mechanic, and I would assume you know a little bit about that world and how
Okay.
crazy this is to think about something like this disappearing and there not being anything to trace it, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, what do you guys think about the documentary and the story in general?
Yeah, I think like you said, it was too long, and they had a lot of filler, like for dramatic effect, like when they show the radar, and then they'd start talking slow to build up the suspense, and then the plane just disappears, and then they do the sound, and then, yeah, I mean, but yeah, all in all, I think it was really good, and it captivated my attention. At no point did I
Hmm.
get bored at all. I was at the edge of my seat the whole time, and really thinking like this is so fucking bizarre, so bizarre, and each theory like what is plausible, and then I mean they had a few cracks in each one, but you can go in any one and think that that's the truth. It's just so
Hmm.
weird, and they're vastly different too.
I liked how when they would present every theory, they do like a reenactment in the plane with the actors, and then whenever like the theory is about to start, the you see the cockpit door and you see the light change, like the light will go from like white or to like blue or like to red, and then it'd be like, all right, theory number three or theory number two, and then it start explaining, like it start going through the whole theory and shit. Um, it's very very interesting. The all the information that was presented, um, the fact that nobody really got involved till like way later. Um, to think also the resources that they used, how late in the game they tried, going like the satellite imaging of that's the Inversat, whatever, Inmersat.
The UK based company.
They didn't use that until like 2 weeks later. Like in 2 weeks, whatever was left is gone. Like how long could a plane take to completely submerge and fall and like into the depths of the ocean? It's within hours. Like how long would it take like a Titanic to sink? Once the whole
Well,
breached.
I wanted these are some of the things I wanted to ask you. I mean, you might not know all of this, but
Uh huh.
in general, you just give me your opinion. But yeah, the material that an airplane is made out of,
Uh huh.
is this a thing that if it crashes into the ocean, it can float for a while, or is this immediately starting to little by little sink down?
The design of a plane is designed to be buoyant. In It's designed to stay afloat no matter what. However, if there's a breach, if there's like a hole where water could start coming in, during in a matter of hours, that's gone. You
Okay,
know,
so what you're saying is, if the plane was lightly placed in water as a whole thing, it will float.
as long as nothing's open
But if it
underneath
crashes
underneath.
into the water, that's gonna create breaches, and most likely it will sink soon.
Right.
Well, like if the plane is shot out of the air and all the pieces start falling, all the remnant pieces are in the ocean,
Uh-huh.
will any of that float? I mean, I guess some of it
So
has
yes,
to, right? Because
like
that piece ended up in Madagascar, wherever it ended up.
okay, so the plane is all there's some parts of the plane that are made of titanium that would sink. Some parts of the plane are made out of aluminum that could potentially float depending on the size of it. Some parts of the plane are made out of like a ceramic polymer to absorb heat and sound. Those float. So like those pieces, if you notice the pieces that floated ashore inside when they opened it had like a honeycomb structure. That's designed to resist heat. Those float. So that you're gonna get like the external stuff of the plane that
So
could
if it would
float.
have exploded in the air in that middle part between Malaysia and what I believe
Mhm,
was China,
mhm,
I think,
mhm.
or Vietnam maybe, you people would have seen debris there. They would have like a whole plane explodes. There's gotta be debris, right? Like that you can find.
I
You can't just
mean, I mean, depending on how did it explode, like if
Well,
something exploded on the inside of the plane, you would probably see the whole, like where's the engine, where is the wing, where is like most of those things that are from, well, depending on what exploded. Did the engine explode? Did the fuselage explode? Like what exploded?
yeah.
well,
I
according
mean,
to Karen from Florida, she saw all the pieces on her Google Maps.
For it to be a scatter like that, for it to be like completely like, there has to be some sort of massive explosion, like a missile or a bomb. You
so
know,
what are you trying to say that we should that we should have found something?
and if they, okay, so let's say then what about on the bottom of the ocean in that area? Shouldn't something be there as well?
Yeah,
Like whatever sank.
I think they searched, right? There was this guy from Australia. Well, he was searching on some other part.
Yeah, Scooby Doo.
I'll,
So
Scooby
fucking
Doo.
Shaggy,
Yeah.
fucking Shaggy, fucking Shaggy over here, bro.
What do
The
you
guy that
mean?
found the millions of pieces.
No, not that one.
Every time he touched the beach, hey, look at
Yeah.
that, another one.
Oh, look at this one! I found it on my backpack. How
Right,
fucking
bro.
weird.
How'd that get there?
No,
Raggy.
I'm talking about there was a dude that had like a big ass boat that would go into like the
Oh, that other
deep
Australian dude. Yeah,
deep
yeah, yeah.
ocean to like, and he's like, I'll find your family, mate. I'll
Yeah.
fucking find it. And then at the end, he was like, sorry, mate. I just couldn't fucking find it.
I know. I promised something in episode 1, but
I know I promised something that might have made you feel like this documentary was gonna end in a way where like you would know the answers, mate. But it's a vast ocean, and I have a little bit of a just very small boat, and I'm kind
Yeah.
of tired now, and I'm not getting paid for this.
it's been 5 years.
It's been 5 years. But
I mean,
we owe it to this family. We owe it to the families.
one cool thing about a documentary like this, where you don't really know the story, like this, I saw Waco, the Texas documentary, also 3. It's pretty much the same formula. Very interesting. Maybe we can talk about it if you guys watch it.
I've seen it.
Because I didn't know the story, you're sort of in the edge because you're like, I actually don't know how the fuck this ends, right? And part of me was hoping that I would get some answers on the Malaysia thing at the end. And then at the end, they're like, yeah, we would never know about this. And I'm like, what, you motherfucker? An airplane disappears and that's it? Like, it's crazy. And apparently this doesn't happen. Like, if a plane falls or something, like planes do fall, but apparently, like it's harder for a plane to disappear. Like you'll find the crash site, you'll find the debris, you'll find the bodies, but not something to just vanish.
Yeah,
From
no
my own,
Don't they
body.
have
my
the black
own.
box
Well,
that can be tracked always?
but not tracked, but that stores the information always. But now find it. Where is it?
Yeah, but isn't it
Okay,
crazy
really.
that box doesn't have like a fucking GPS thing?
Yeah, my
Huh?
phone has a GPS.
Maybe
How
they
the
should start
fuck's
doing
that thing
that.
not?
Yeah,
Maybe they should start doing that.
stop doing what?
No, maybe they should start doing that, like putting like a little GPS tracker on the black
What do you
box.
mean? I mean, obviously, I'm not complaining to you, but like, how the fuck don't they do that already?
I don't think they do.
They don't. They don't track airplanes. They're like,
No, not that they don't track airplanes. They have tracking systems on the airplane outside of the black box.
well, but apparently, what one of the theories is that whatever tracking devices the airplane has were turned off or disabled or whatever. It's such a strange thing, right? And it's so hard as a human that we find answers and rationale to almost anything that we see in life that we can't fucking grasp our fingers around it. It's almost like when you watch Unsolved Mysteries documentary on Netflix, and at the end you're surprised that they didn't tell you what the mystery was. But it's like, oh fuck, like who killed them? You know, like is he out there, Jimmy?
What are the three theories do you guys think it is? What's most convincing?
Well, I mean, there were three theories that they said right on the thing on the documentary.
Yeah.
One, that the pilot was suicidal. Two, that there were some like technology from China or the U.S. that they wanted to avoid getting to China. And then the third one,
Was the Russian hackers?
The Russian hijackers that took the plane to Kazakhstan.
right? Okay. Yeah, like to me, I just don't understand how in these days, because this was like 9 years ago, how the fuck don't we know where everything is? And maybe I'm naive. Maybe I shouldn't think like that. Maybe we don't know really. I mean, maybe we know a little bit. But I would think that after like 9/11, shit will get, you know, pretty good at knowing where the fuck everything is. But then again, does depend on each country, right? Like in Venezuela, they're not gonna have the same technology and care for logistics in the air than they do in, in a first world country. In Malaysia, I mean, apparently they're pretty gangster, but maybe they're not as hardcore on like making sure things are advanced and we know where everything is.
Or maybe they're poorer than other countries and they don't have the access to that capability, like to that technology. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so one thing that the French guy said, the loved one of the missing daughter and son, that he's like, it's the Americans that are running the investigation, it's the English with the satellite technology, and it's the Australians leading the search on the ground. It's like all these three governments that, why isn't it one party involved leading the efforts? It's all, everybody's like coming in together, so it's like we're not gonna end like in a definitive manner.
He was getting more into like being in a conspiracy, right? Like maybe those people took it down or some shit like that. Like that was one of the theories, right? The last one, like going a little farther, like this was planned by governments and shit.
And honestly, out of all the theories, that's to me the most plausible one. The last one, the one with the cargo in the undercarriage, and then they got shot down, because of the fact, like they were like what the lady was saying, that how is it that this plane, right, flew over these military bases and nothing happened. There was no reaction, Like for them to have flown across that country, somebody would have said something, somebody would have seen something.
So what are you saying then? So that would have meant that?
That would have meant that they didn't fly over those countries, that they ended up in the South China Sea. And the satellite thing, the what is it, the Inmarsat. I'm not saying that because that guy took it personal, like he's the one creating those numbers. I don't think it's him per se, and I don't even think that it's Inmarsat that's creating that information. But I'm assuming that just like the AWAC can have the capability of jamming, it can also have probably the capability of decoying. So it could probably pretend to be MH370, fly the opposite way, do all that shit because it's a military plane, nobody's gonna say, "Oh, hey, look, this military plane flew over because it has clearance," and then do its little route and fly into the ocean, into the South Ocean, and then just cut off.
Yeah, so you're saying like a different plane controlled by one of these government agencies would have done that as I think that would be crazy. But then again, this is such a crazy story that
In an attempt to cover up, in an attempt to
to
cover up the
cover
fact
up what?
the fact that they shot down that plane
This
because
is
they
the
didn't want
thing.
it
If I
to
mean,
get to its destination.
again, let me just disclaim.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Anything can be true.
it's very,
Anything can be
very,
true
very,
because it's so
very,
crazy.
very far fetched. Like,
But to me, it's
super.
like how many planes go that route or similar routes, taking technology in the plane. Like they would have to be like taking down a bunch of commercial planes like that, which is crazy.
But and the fact that, okay, so how many other planes get that kind of technology, but without getting scanned? No, without nobody seeing what's inside.
Right? I don't that part. Who knows?
So then what? Oh, you also have Indiana Jones, who found all of the pieces off the coast of Africa.
Well, Indiana
And
Jones
and
is a
then
fraud. I mean, okay, let's get to
no,
Indiana
no.
Jones. I think
Let's.
Indiana Jones is a fraud.
I don't think so. I think he's also just unfortunately a well, maybe the issue with Indiana Jones comes now where the lady then says, "All right, so we found pieces, right?" And then those pieces had serial numbers, and then those serial numbers get run into a checklist to see if they're part of the parts that are registered on MH370. And out of the 12 pieces, only one came back.
No,
So
not even. Not even.
no, what not like no. There was a lot of pieces. Out of a lot of pieces that they had, 12 had serial numbers. Out of the 12 serial numbers that they checked, only one came back as being part of MH370. Which
that
means
part I didn't see. That from what I understood,
that's what I heard. I mean, that's what I heard from the
from what I understood, the part that could have been from the plane because it had the same model didn't even have the register thing on it.
That's another thing. The little identification plate got removed, or
And they
it
say
wasn't
that's
there.
very common for parts that have been salvaged after they've gone
Exactly.
to airplane cemeteries. So, yeah, I think.
Well, then there's also the flight simulator of the captain who was flying the flying south.
Could that have been done after the fact? Could that have been done by somebody that went to go and get the information, get the little computer? All right, we need to plant this guy as the fall guy, so let's run the simulation and have him crashing into the South Sea thing.
Yeah, and then you can call fucking Steven Spielberg and do a movie.
Yeah, it's wild. Whatever happened is wild because
I mean, the easiest one where it takes less effort and less involvement from more people is the pilot going insane. And he's like, I'm taking all these people to the South Indian. Is it South Indian, right? Or South China?
South Indian Ocean. Wait,
South
Indian Ocean, which is the one on the other side.
Because you were saying South
China. South China Sea is the one where the lady from
I don't
Florida.
even want to say China too much.
South China Sea, where the lady from Florida found the pictures and shit.
Right. Okay. So the South Indian Sea.
So how do you explain that?
Explain what she saw.
Her pictures?
There's. I mean, that's pictures. Okay, so yeah, those pictures were.
Those pictures were shit.
Iffy at best. Yeah.
And that bitch probably
She saw like some random white speck. It has to be the plane.
That's the plane. That's the plane.
Just
I told him.
I have the evidence right here.
I have it all here.
I'll say.
I have it all here. No, that was so stupid.
Everyone says that I'm loony. I'm just showing them pictures of water.
She was high on Adderall.
They showed her twice in 2 different episodes, saying the exact same thing, like that, and that was like unnecessary. Like,
oh, but by the way, I don't know if I've seen this in other documentaries, but one thing that I will criticize Netflix about is like, don't reuse fucking scenes. Don't do that. Like you know what? Sometimes they do. They give you a cut from that scene and they show it to you earlier. And then later they show you the rest of that scene, and then that's cool, but don't show me the same fucking scene, because that's some like whack YouTube channel shenanigans right there.
That's clickbait.
That's clickbait right there.
That's clickbait.
Don't show me the cut from the scene, and then go to the scene, and it's the cut is the scene.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta give me more. You know what I mean?
Bro, the thing with all the people that they had on camera, they all seemed sketchy. Indiana Jones guy, sketchy. The lady from Florida, weird. There's no like nobody that I really trusted besides I think his name was Mike, which was the aviation expert that was like
Uh-huh.
doing his own investigation on the side with his group of people. That he's like, these are the facts, this is the data, this is what I'm seeing. But then again, he could be a little bit naive as to evil powers interfering.
Right. He's just taking the information for what it is. That's what
Exactly.
the problem is. Everybody's taking the information for what it is, and the data says it was the pilot. The data says it was the pilot.
He just shut it off and then turned it around and just nosedive. But the thing is,
Back.
if you're gonna suicide, why go through all of that? Like,
No, because you want to
what?
make a statement. I don't know, maybe. Or maybe he's like, dude, you know what I want to do? I want to kill myself, but I want to do it in a way where I leave the whole world fucking confused. Like, and he's, in his simulator, I'm pretty sure that he's practiced many routes and he knows probably that in the South Indian Ocean there's nothing there and that you could crash there and people aren't going to find shit.
But couldn't he have crashed in any ocean and they would not find shit?
Nah, because if he would have crashed in the ocean where the route was originally on, it has
Uh,
land very close by. He took a route. I mean, if that ended up happening, we don't know. He took a route that would have put him in a place in the world where it's very
so
remote with
so
nothing
Well,
around.
so
John, can
you
he jam? Wait up, before we continue. To support this, could the pilot jam his own communication and turn it off from the cockpit, or does he need to go down and do that?
could he jam? He could turn off the communications from the cockpit,
Okay.
And turn
but
off and it is true that apparently the tracker is something that they could have gotten that, but they did, it would have matched what the shit said, right? What the radar said, that he was by the South
but
Indian
but
Ocean.
but then they when they get the Invarsat thing, the the satellite turns off and then it turns back on. Why would he turn it back on if the intention is to crash and not be seen and not be found?
Yeah, but apparently they say that the communications radar company could have triggered it to turn on even if it was turned off before. So that's why you could have recognized that at the end. Okay.
They they have that power. That seems a little insane.
It's weird. It's
This is
weird.
not
Because them, I believe them being able to track it. Of course, that's the role of their company. But to be able to turn on the comms
no,
remotely.
not the comms, but like the satellite because they're like an
Ah,
independent.
okay,
The satellite,
Like
just the
like
pinging,
relay. Like
the relay.
relay it. Relay the
okay,
connection back and forth.
gotcha.
Um does it scare you guys when you see something like this? Like flying? Is it so safe as it's, you know, really expressed out to be? What do you think, John? I mean, you have worked in your life repairing planes. How safe are these fuckers?
Dude, honestly, let's start with so if we agree that it's the first theory, that it's a
The
pilot,
pilot.
that he went crazy and he just fucking nosedived and that was it. That can happen to anybody. That is not an issue where I would be like, I'm scared for my
No, no,
life.
no. But right. I mean, I don't mean it like that. Of course, there nothing failed except the pilot, right? No, I'm talking about
Exactly.
like. I mean, I guess maybe the documentary is not even about this because nothing failed. But I'm saying, like, if a plane was to have trouble,
Uh-huh.
how grave are the situations where like a pilot couldn't, like, if an engine fails the other one can take it. If both engines fails, can you fucking glide like a little bird until you find somewhere to land?
For a bit, it depends. You you do lose some steering capability.
Right, because you don't have the force.
You could go forward, but like it's hard for you to sway and shit.
Okay.
If anything, this made me wary of traveling over large bodies of water. That would be the only thing that really this did to me.
Definitely not going to Malaysia.
Also
Okay.
not going to Malaysia.
Okay. So, in the Broski Doodles Richter scale, how much would you give the documentary?
This documentary was very interesting, but it left me with more questions than answers. It was informative, but at the same time pointless. In a sense, it's like, yeah, all right, now I have all this information, but we still don't have answers. I'm like, okay, great, thanks for
Go do your own research.
Call Karen from Florida.
Shit. Karen in training. That lady was something else.
I swear to God, I saw pieces. No one believes me. No
I
one's
saw
picking
the
up my
pilot.
phone.
He was swimming. So how much would you give it?
6.5.
Okay, I give it a 6. If it was, I would have given it a 7 if it was an hour and a half. You,
I give
Adrian?
it a 7. I give it a 7. I liked it.
Okay.
I thought it was informative, and I thought there was a lot of suspenseful moments, and got me hooked on the topic. And I do want to know more, and I hope that they find whatever the fuck happened to this plane.
I think it's too late for that now. But
Wow. I'm sure there's still independent people looking.
Is it worth
Like-
watching?
The doc?
I think it was worth
Yeah, like
watching.
to like anybody on the street, like, hey, look, watch this.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the street, I'm not sure if you have access to Netflix, but in general,
Not living on the street, like you're just walking on the street and talk. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Hey, you got Netflix? Yeah, all right.
I watched this.
Watch this.
All right. So that gives it a 6.5 in total, averaged out in the Broski Doodle Richter scale. I appreciate everybody that's listening. Let us know what you think about this documentary, and if you've seen any other docuseries that you felt was really insightful and that had a lot of interesting finds, well, let us know, and we might review it and see what's goody. We might review Waco. I thought it was really interesting. I think you guys would like it. Thanks for tuning in. DJ BJ, Adrian, people at home.